Good afternoon, sir. I'm Amelia from Group 9. Our website is about travel and we use a total of 3 APIs. Each member was responsible for one. We listed the details of the website in GitHub README file. To begin, I will explain our file structure. It is separated into two main folders, backend and frontend. The backend folder is where we initialize the project using npm init, and it contains the server.js file. The frontend folder contains all the React code, which is used to build the user interface. In the backend, we installed several important packages to support our server functionality. Express is to create server and handle routes. Mongoose is to connect and interact with MongoDB. .env is to manage environment variables. Bcrypt.js is to hash passwords. JSON Web Token is for user login authentication using JWT. CORS is to handle cross-origins requests, and Ashes is to make HTTP requests. For front-end, React DOM, and React Router DOM is for building and navigating the interface. Ashes is to call APIs. Bootstrap is for styling, and React Slick and Slick Carousel is for displaying carousels. Font Awesome is for icons, and JWT Decode is to decode the token. These packages help connect the front-end and back-end smoothly while improving the overall UI of the website. This is our back-end server setup using Express. It connects to MongoDB, enable CORS for both local and hosted front-ends, handle JSON requests, and routes all authentication-related requests to API auth file. The server listens on the port specified in the .env file. In the backend folder, we have an .env file, which includes 3 key environment variables. First, Mongo URI is to connect the backend to the MongoDB database. Port is defining the port number 8888 used to run the backend locally before deployment. JWT secret is a secret key used for login authentication via JWT. And currently, our website is hosted on Render, with the front-end and back-end hosted separately. This is the back-end, and this is front-end as a static site. This is a login page of our website. We allow users to sign in using either their username or email. Since no account has been registered yet, so this error message is shown here. To register, the user can click the Register Here link, fill in their username, email, country, and password, and confirm the password. The country dropdown is populated by calling the REST countries API, which is called by my teammate Kai Juan, and he will explain this code later. So I can choose my country and confirm the password. You can toggle this eye icon to check the password. After confirming the password, clicking the register button sends a request to the backend register route. This is the front-end code to call the backend route, and this is the backend route. This route receives the input, validates all fields, ensures the password matches, hashes the password using Bcrypt, and save the new user into MongoDB here. So if the user and email already exists, appropriate error message are shown. So back to here, after clicking the register button, it will show a successful message. And when you check the database, you actually can see the newly registered user. And after successful registration, the system redirects back to the login page where the user can enter their new credentials. This is the backend login route. It allows users to log in either using their email or username by verifying their credentials and returning a JWT token if successful. To protect pages that require login, we use a middleware function called verify token. It checks if a valid JWT token is included in the request header. If the token is valid, the user is allowed to access the route. Otherwise, an error is returned. This is used to secure routes like viewing user profiles or managing favorites. Back to the login page. Once logged in, the user will be redirected to the home page, and this is our home page. I'm in charge of calling the attraction API, and this is the API key, and this is the backend route that calls the SERP API to fetch tourist attraction based on the selected country. This search is performed using Google, and the top results are returned to the front end. If the API call fails, the backend still responds successfully with an empty list. This is because the API limits to 100 calls per month, so to prevent that the website link will fail, so I return empty array if the API key limits reached. And I place this logic in the backend instead of calling the API directly from the front end, because SERP API has coarse restrictions which prevent it from being accessed directly from the browser. Calling it through the backend can avoid these issues and ensure a smooth data flow. Since the API is limited to 100 calls per month, I only make a few calls to display the data. On the home page, I show the top 5 attractions, which can be clicked to redirect users to the attraction detail page. I won't click in now as the page will be shown later. So as you can see here, the attraction detail includes the description, rating, reviews, price, and country. So beside the home page to view attraction, users can also click on the attractions tab to browse more attractions. This part uses a use effect hook which first calls the country API to fetch all country names and flags, then select 10 random countries. These country calls are necessary because the attraction API searches based on the country names. After selecting them, the attraction API is called one by one for each country to fetch the top attraction and display it on the attraction page, as you can see here. A search function is also provided to help users to find specific attraction. And the code is here. So when an attraction is clicked, the details are displayed, including the origin country, the title, the description, rating, reviews, and price, all retrieved via the API. This is the code that displays the attraction on the UI. From this page, users can also add the attraction to their favorites. The code here, this front-end code, sends the attraction details to the backend using this API call. This is the backend route responsible for adding an attraction to the user's favorites. It is protected by the verified token middleware to ensure that the user is logged in, and the route first checks if the attraction is already exists in the user's favorites to prevent duplicates. If it doesn't, the attraction is saved to the MongoDB database under the user ID, and a success message is returned. This is the MongoDB attraction collection, where you can see the attraction I added appears here. This is the attraction tab under the favorites page, which displays the list of attractions that the user has added to the database. The front end sends a request to the back end to fetch all favorite attractions linked to the currently logged in user. This backend route searches for attractions in the database that match the user ID and send to the front end. Each attraction in the list can be edited or deleted. All fields are editable except for the country name and attraction title, which are kept fixed. After the user edits the attraction and click Save button, it calls the handle update attraction function, and this function sends the updated details to the backend, and the backend then checks if the attraction exists and whether it belongs to the login user or not here. If so, it updates the relevant fields in the database and save to the database. As you can see, the description is updated to open and rating is 4.8. Same goes to the UI is also updated. To delete an attraction, the user can click the delete button. This sends a delete request to the backend, and which again verifies the user identity and remove the selected attraction from the database if everything is valid. As you can see here, the attraction is no longer in the database. All of the operation, fetching, updating, and deleting are done securely through protected routes using JWT token, which is this verify token function call, to make sure that only the correct user can modify their own data. And now I'll pass to my teammate Kai Juan to talk about country API.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Kai Juan from Group 9 and I'm in charge of calling the country API. This is our project website, Global Explorer Register page. The part that calling country API is drop-down column. The country drop-down is populated by calling the REST country API. We fetch all the country names and sort in alphabetically from A until Z. Now, let me show how the fetching works. This is the main part of the code. The use effect hole is used to fetch the list of the country names and sort them in alphabetically for user selection. This is the main line of the code, adjust.get to call the REST country API, and these two lines of the code is do the sorting A to Z after we fetching the country names, and we also implement try and catch to avoid any errors. After login, user is redirected to the home page. On the home page, there is a top navigation bar. User is allowed click country tabs, abstraction tab, favorite, and profile. User can also swipe through our interactive banner to explore more country and explore more abstraction. Below of that, the homepage is displayed the top countries randomly selected by calling the country API. Below this country, there is a top 5 abstraction are shown. Now let me explain how randomly selected country and show in homepage. Okay, so this part is the main code to show top 10 country on homepage. This is the link called the REST country API. Then we will fetch country name, country flag. Then we do a shuffling and we randomly select 10 country and set on the homepage. User can click on any country flags on the homepage to view its details. For example, for source country Koreas. By clicking on country flags, it will redirect user to the country details where information such as a capital, language, and current currency. Or user also can click on country tabs where all countries are listed along with a search function to help user to find specific one. For example, United States. This is the detail of the United States, and the country details page also have shown the currently weathers and the 7 days of the weather. And this part will explain by the Amelia, and this part will explain by the Wei Ming. Besides all that, at the country detail page, user also allow add the country to the favorite. A successful country add into the favorite message will prompt up. Now, let us verify is that the data is successful set in database or not. Okay, so as you can see, the United States already successful set in the MongoDB. Now, let us verify on the favorite tab. Okay, so the United States also show in the favorite tab. Now let me explain how the backend code works. Okay, so the front end will send the country details to the backend code through the exhaust.post, and then this part is to the verify to the user ID is logged in or not. And we also use the try and catch to do the validation. So this part is the backend to handle the post request from the front end. This part also is verified that all the data is sent into the backend or not. And we also have to do the verification that the country is already added to the favorite or not. If it's already exists, then we'll pop up a message. Country is already appeared in favorite. Then last, if all is okay, then we'll save into the database. On the favorites page, under the country tab, user can view the list of countries that have added. This is the front-end code. The front end will send a request to the back end to fetch all the favorite countries belong to currently logged in users. And if successful fetch, then we'll set to country. Then this is the back end code. First, this code will check the user is logged in or not. Then, if yes, then we'll based on user ID fetch the country that's saved by user. We also implement try and catch to do the validation. Each country in the favorite list can editable or deletable. Let me click the edit. Okay. So all fields are editable, but just for the country name is not allowed, which will remain fixed. Now let me try. I edit this to USD. Okay, I click the save button. Then country updated was successful. Then I click OK. Then now let us verify is that the data is successful update in database or not. Okay, now as you can see, the data is already successful. Change to the USD as same to our website. So this is the backend code handle update country. After the user edit the countries and click the save button, it will call the handle update country function. This function will send the updated details to the backend with the exhaust.put to the backend code. This is the backend code to handle the update when user click the save. Okay, so the important thing is this code will check the user is on the country or not. Then the updated fields is this line, but this does not include the country name because the country name is fixed and cannot edit. Then if all of this is okay, then lastly we'll save and update to the database. Then we'll prompt back a message, country updated successful. Next is the delete country from the favorite list. Then I can click the delete. Will double check me, confirm delete or not. If I click OK, then will prompt message, country successful deleted. Okay, now this empty. So let us verify the database is successful deleted or not. This is the country. Okay, as we can see, the country here is already empty, mean that the deletion operation is successful. Now let me explain how the backend code works. So this is the front-end code to handle the activity delete country from the favorite list. So first when we click the delete button, we'll prompt this message. Then if yes, then we'll send a delete message to the backend code. So this is the backend code to handle the delete country from the database. Okay, so first we will check if that the user have the authorized to delete the country or not. If yes, then we will run the country delete the country from the database. Yeah. This is all from my part to calling the REST country API. Next, I will pass for Wei Ming to explain the weather API.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Wei Ming from Good Night, and I'm in charge of calling the weather API. To view the weather information, the users can select a country from the home page. Now we're using Singapore as an example. After we clicking on the Singapore button, it will show up with a 7 days forecast weather. This part of the source code is retrieved by calling the weather API using API key. User can also add the weather information to their favorite by clicking Add to Favorite button. Then we will show weather is added to the favorite. The front end sends the weather details to the back end by using constant handle add weather to the favorite by getting the user's ID and amounts with those weather details and save into the database and show weather add to favorite. For the backend route, using verified tokens to ensure that the user have already logged in, and for this part is check if the same weather record already exists in the user favorite, and it will show weather already in the favorite. If not, this part will save the data into the MongoDB weather collection under the user's ID, and a success message is returned. Here you can see newly added weather data is recorded in the MongoDB database, which is the Singapore country and amounts with some of the details. In addition to show country weather, users can also view weather details for specific attraction. Examples showing this jellyfish lake attraction. On the attraction page, a 7 days forecast for the attraction is shown, and users can add this forecast to their favorite as well using the same backend route as before. By clicking this add to the favorite buttons, and it will show weather add to favorite. On the favorite page under the weather tab, users can view the list of weather entry they have saved. Example, just now we have saved Singapore, and the front end sends a request to the back ends by using constant fetch weather. The backend route of get weather details is to fetch only the weather record associated with the login users. This route is also protected by using our tokens to ensure the authentication. Besides, for each weather record can be edited or deleted. The weather editing process is slightly different for the country or attraction editing. Only the depth field is editable using a drop-down, which allows the users to adapt the weather forecast for different days while keeping the same country or attraction details. Example, for choosing date of 21 of June and click on the save button, and we will show a successful message. By using the constant handle edit weathers, calling the weather API along with the details, and set the weather date to the adapted, and modify and update to the database. When a new date is selected, the related weather data update automatically and is sent to the backend. Using constant handle update weathers, able update the weather into the database. For the backend route of update weathers is using verified tokens. When it's verified, those weather details will be saved into the database and a success message will be displayed out. And after refreshing the database website, the weather date of 21 of June is updated. To delete a weather record, the users can simply click on the delete buttons. And you will show, are you sure you want to delete this weather? This is the route of delete weather from the database. The backend verifies the user's identity by using verified tokens and remove the selected weather from the database. After refreshing the database website, as shown here, the data entry is no longer present in the collection. We also create a profile page that allows users to change their country and or their password. The user's name and email fields are not editable. The country drop-down is populated by calling the REST country API, which is handled by my teammate Kai Juan. Users can choose just edit the country and click on the edit buttons. It will show profile edit successfully, or just edit the password. If the password length is not more than 8 characters, it will show up an error message. And when both password is not matched, it will show new password does not match. And click on the Add buttons. And it will show the profile added successfully. And for the second confirm new password frame is be hidden out. The front end sends the added information to the back end by using constant handle submit and start of the validation, and added only the fields will change, example of country or the password. The backend route of added profile is validate and process the request by using the verified tokens. If the country is true, then added the country. If the password is true and the length is more than 8 characters, and using sort method to hash the password and added the password into the field and added and save into the database. After refreshing the database website, as shown here, the user's added country and hash password are now reflected in the database. Example, the country already changed to the Mali, and also for the website is already changed to the Mali. Above was our Group 9 presentation. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you.